Call the Recreation Committee meeting on March 4th at 6:09 to order. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Members present. I'm glad someone's on top of this.
Mary Anastasia.
Ben Norton.
Courtney Boudreau.
John Regan. David Brohl.
Mark Sam.
Cindy Courier, liaison from the COA.
Excellent. Did anyone get a chance to review the minutes of last meeting?
No.
Yes.
I did.
Yes.
Courtney, any comments?
Not that there were no edits to make that I could see.
Yeah, I don't see that.
Did they just come up? Hot off the press?
They are. Yesterday, I believe?
No, this morning.
Oh, okay.
It's amazing when you don't use the send button. You know, I thought it.
I thought it, I typed
There it
it,
is
and
on the
it's here,
screen.
it's in
I am really
in
good with
that
that.
draft.
Really
It's in
good
that
with
draft.
texting.
So again, my apologies. I'm trying to get better. I write them early. I just doesn't get sent. That's on me.
I just look at it that you do so much, so
And I do apologize.
No, don't apologize.
Particularly to one individual, but to the group as a whole. I won't mention their names because they did make a commitment and a request, and I failed to acknowledge and set the meeting today. So I apologize.
No worries. I was just like, bye, man, hello.
I'm sorry.
I'm deeply.
No, it worked, it's fine. No
All right.
worries.
No, it's not.
We've reviewed the minutes. No errors or spelling errors or edits need to be made.
I make the motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
Courtney seconds it. All approved?
Aye.
Aye. Done. Bill schedule. I'm looking at last week's, I'm sorry. Correspondence. Anyone?
Kind of, although is a new request in my on the agenda, someone else?
Yes, it's under
Okay,
applications.
never mind.
Just so people know, that stays as a permanent application, because we'll be with the field house and possibly other, like the basketball courts, there are going to be a rolling acceptances, not the fields have their own time schedule, but the basketball court and the field house at this time are something we should review every month.
Yeah, because it's a
Yeah.
revolving,
Makes sense.
especially in the ping pong, to look at something. So bills and claims? So it's like a merry
Bills, we have a bill from Townsend for product for propane. And there was also a bill that was miscategorized, I guess is the word. So it might have been that no heat call that we talked about last meeting.
Okay.
I have not been in email since Saturday or Sunday? Saturday. And I asked for a copy of the bill. So I'm
Okay.
thinking that that was that no heat call in January that just somehow got somewhere else. So those were the two. But I think that one was approximately 1,100 and this is about 800.
For the repair or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the propane delivery was about 813-ish.
Is that typical?
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah,
Is that monthly?
about that, yeah, in season.
And is that building heat at all?
I turn it down, usually when we leave.
To what?
Whatever it was at in the morning is usually like, I think 66, 67, somewhere around there. I usually bump it up, like in the mornings, so that
Yeah.
it's warm for yoga and,
Yeah.
things like that. But
Yeah, you don't
do.
want to go much lower than that, especially because that's cold.
You stand in the middle.
It's
of the
pretty
field
cool in
and
there in the
nothing around
morning.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even at 67.
It warms up
otherwise
pretty quickly,
you
I mean,
run
It
the
does
risk-
heat quick, but
And you run the risk of freezing something.
Yeah, I think that DPW has got a pretty good grasp on what that building needs and how often and what the temperatures. Okay, excellent.
And an empty property burns more fuel than one where you're working on it. and
That's what we
cooking
need
and
more
whatnot.
people on there. Body heat.
I have a comment for that, but I'll tell you later.
Application for field court, field house, or other.
Mash Rush did submit an application for use of the fields, so we have to vote on that. So, specifically, they did put in for, it looks like they looked at the schedule or coordinated with the other, with Triton Soccer and lacrosse, yeah, Triton Soccer and lacrosse for this year, because so they submitted a couple different, dates and times, so just bear with me for a second, but they're all on, field 5B, because the other ones are already taken. Okay, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from April 1st to May 10th, from 4:30 to 7:30 p.m.
Can you go by that again? It's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday?
Yeah, so all weekdays.
Yep.
They broke it down, again, they broke it down into a couple different dates. So
Yep.
that's April 1st to May 10th, from 4:30 to 7:30.
Yep.
Then the same Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, from May 13th to June 7th. They want it from 4:30 to 8 p.m., so just the added half hour. And then Sundays, April 7th to June 9th, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then this, okay, these, and then Sunday.
Is that the same field, 5B?
Yes.
Okay.
And let me just look, hold on, because this one's the same request, but let me see if it's different. And then field, okay, so yeah, those are all field 5B.
Yep.
And then field 4, they're requesting, Sundays, April 7th to June 9th, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. That's field 4.
Yep.
And then again, field 4, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so weekdays from April 1st to June 7th, from 4:30 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Is that typical work?
Yeah.
And then field 3 on Sundays from April 7th to June 9th, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
So they use 4 and 3 during the, that's Sundays, that's what they have.
Right, 4 and 3 on Sundays, and then 5B during the week, although field 4 from 4:30 to 8. It's kind of confusing how they do it, like,
Well, I get, the bigger question is, it doesn't conflict with the other permit holders, correct?
correct.
And it totals the number of hours that they're requesting.
What totals the number of?
The software totals the total number of
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah.
So you don't have to add it up and then
Right.
have further, so,
Right, then they're just billed off of.
yeah,
their-
excellent.
yeah.
Someone will put a motion in to,
I'll make
approve.
the motion to accept the application for a permit for Mass Rush that has been submitted on my rec.
Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Alright, done.
David, you seconded?
Yeah.
And I will send a notice out to them indicating, like I did with lacrosse and Triton Youth Soccer, about the official start date is when DPW opens the fields for the season, and they're responsible for making the fields. Both soccer and lacrosse have been better about moving their nets around during the weekday so their goal area doesn't get worn out, to extend the life of the field, particularly in the spring. And then to promptly remove their nets at the conclusion of the season.
Okey-doke. Master plan update. Courtney and I met with the select board last week. and went over the plans for the fields in the future. And at that point, we asked them what kind of money that they were going to allow us to have from the ARPA funds. And they gave us a number, I think it was 240,000.
As of right now.
As of right now, which is a scary thing, because initially we were pledged around 300, it was like 290 something, and that got slashed. So they approved us going forward with the tot lot. That becomes sort of an issue because I have sent a letter to, I sent an email to both Tracy. Tracy's email was, here's the deal. Originally, it was basically, I said, we were originally supposed to get $290,000. We are now with $240,000. Chris Huntress said that the cost range would be between $400,000 and $600,000. I don't know how we're gonna make up the difference. I sent a note to Chris Huntress saying, is there any way we can get that tot lot reduced in size, or not reduced in size, but in that ballpark around $300,000, and we would scrape the $60,000 by trying to get grants. He has not, neither have got back to me. I don't know, just our experience so far with these things going out to bid, when someone gives us a price range of 400 to 600, it always seems like it comes at $500,000, and I think we should probably be, forward on this, but I don't know where the money's gonna come from. And I think that money's out there right now. They've offered us $240,000 of ARPA money. I don't know if that will disappear. Does anyone have any thoughts on that?
A couple of things, if I can jump in.
Absolutely.
Where to begin? Did they approve the master plan?
Yes.
Okay. So anything on that master plan is
Yep.
is available for us to consider.
Yep.
Okay. This is going to sound like a sidebar, but it's related. Has anybody been around to the library recently and saw what's happening there?
Yeah, I think that's where our ARPA money went.
And how much are they gonna, this is part of my struggle with the town, is there are two playgrounds in town, both under the jurisdiction of two different entities, but they're both on town property. And we are trying to put a third one in, yet under another jurisdiction.
Yep.
And to me, it would make sense to be more coordinated so that the equipment is similar, so if we need to get parts for any one of them, it can be a streamlined process, and that there'd be some similarities too. I'm not looking for conformity, but geez, why isn't the library already done? We should be able to move on that quickly, because that is a place where it's a destination location that parents use for that combination.
It's constantly being used.
And yet now it's down, and I remember years ago when the slide was burned. And to think about it strategically and getting the administration and the select board and the town to have a recreation committee responsible for this, so that we can act.
Yeah, and I think what you're saying too is that we were we have this committee that does Central Street Fields, but we're affected by everything else. And the fact that, they give us a plan, they want us to do it, and we've heard this for a year, we want you to do this tot lot, we have this money set aside, let's do it. And then when push comes to shove, our number keeps decreasing. So there is no communication. It was like, at least from my point of view, I felt like the rug was pulled out from underneath us. But can we get it done? I don't know.
Well, but my question is, where's the money for the playground at by Pearson Fields? Where's that coming from? Is that a DPW?
I think
Or is it
D-
coming from the ARPA fund?
I think it's, my guess is, and I could be totally wrong, and they might have used that money to buy something else, but my guess would be, we were promised $290,000. It's funny, because I walked by the library and I saw that equipment, and I was like, I know what this is for, they're redoing the playground. And then I said, I ever wonder if they're gonna take money from us, and then we found out our total was dropped down. And no one has said that, and I'd like to know if that's the story, but I don't wanna, it's difficult to go forward and go through the whole process and then find us, scrapping again, saying, okay, well, we're $100,000 short, or we're $60,000 short, where are we gonna come up with that? And as a group, we're the people that have to, they put it in, go up, that's what they told us at the meeting, make up the difference, because we said they would be around 300, they're gonna give us 240, and they said, well, go talk to the banks and go, so.
Wait a second, who's told us to go to the banks? No mentions of names,
The select.
but we have no authority to go to the banks.
The select board.
The select board has to do, and then it's not a,
They told us to go out and get grants,
Yeah.
And
look for
Grants
grants,
and basically like beg people for money.
beg people.
okay. Yeah, we could do what I don't know if anybody remembered when they raised money for
Yeah, we
NES.
can raise money, right? Kind of.
Kind of.
Yeah, we
But
can.
that shouldn't be, we shouldn't be raising money to provide services to the
The
town.
basketball court got donations.
We,
So it's a little
an
bit,
anonymous donation, and then there was the friends.
which is a little bit different than going out and actively
Well, I think
Somebody
that's what
said
they,
donations.
that's what she meant, I got the impression, was to like find out if like IFS would donate X.
Yeah,
That was my impression.
And-
My experience with this is the check has to be made out to the town of Newbury, not the town of Newbury Recreation Fund.
Right, and then they would then,
So that it goes in the general fund, so you're
Uh,
going on
they
faith.
can.
So I think they can designate it too.
They-
Well, no, absolutely, but again, we collected $25 from people to move that rock, and it was just like, no, it's gotta go, the money has to.
Yeah,
go.
that can be resolved. The bigger question is, my experience doing grant writing is we don't have that targeted audience. We don't meet certain criteria. I mean, you look at our general income, you look at, any of these matrix that the bigger foundations want to give to, even the smaller ones. We're not meeting anybody's need.
yeah.
By putting a playground in isn't gonna do, there could be somebody out there. My experience has been, I'm not gonna write 45 grants and hope that we get something. And that takes time, money, and energy, that this stuff, other stuff, has a expiration date on it. So the question, do we wanna spend that time, and do we have any volunteers?
We talked about it, asking and trying to, find out if we can get money for that. I would like to say, tonight, okay, I'll push Chris Huntress to do the final plans and get bids out there and pick a bid day, but if we don't have the funds for it, it's just.
Can't do that.
Yeah, it's a waste of time. So what I did was, again, I reached out to the town administrator, I reached out to Chris, and I hate to put this off for another month, because, we're running out of daylight to do this. But, I don't have an answer. I wish I did. I thought after our meeting that we were in pretty good shape, that, so if we had to scrape together 60 grand, we could probably do that.
I would think that the most prudent steps for us to take at this point in time is to scale it way back with room to grow. And whatever the anticipated bid would be, if we have.
That's what I did. I said, let's say we had $300,000, because I think we can do $300,000. But if you say, to come up with that kind of money probably would not be overly difficult, to come up with $60,000.
We can't put a bid out unless we have money
Yeah.
in our possession.
Yep,
So until that has been solidified and for lack of better terms, earmarked on our part for that, whether it's through ARPA funds or other funds, we can't even put the bid out.
Yeah, yep.
So,
But if we search and we find out that we can't, you know, like if someone has a brother that's buddies with Bill Gates and Bill Gates wants to put his name on it, then, you know, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that if we're able to earmark money in the next month, and then we have enough money, we think we have enough money, and we are able to set it aside, or maybe it takes 2 months, as long as the bid goes out and then we write the agreement of awards at the end of the year.
It's December 31st.
so we're looking at 26,
Yeah.
date that needs to be built by.
Well, I think the
I don't think
contract
it
needs to be signed, right?
It has to be
Right.
signed. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be built.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be built.
Calendar year, not fiscal year?
Ooh, I think it's calendar year.
2024.
Yeah, I think it's calendar year. So, I mean, I hate to wait on it, and I hate to put this, because we got the master plan done, it came out great, they loved it.
Yeah,
Um,
everyone was like, there were no
Yeah,
there were a few questions, but everyone was like, yep, let's do it.
Yep.
Sounds, looks great,
So-
did a good job.
So at this juncture, really, from what I'm seeing, whether it's Chris Huntress or somebody else who has experience with cost of playground installation, we need to get a concept of anything from $100,000 to $200,000, so it's really comfortable. And then
Well-
the bigger one, so that we have
a range.
a range. So if we can't get the money and we have this with a 12% override, a 12% overrun, we can still make that number.
Yeah,
Okay, we can do this then. And if he could get that, I agree with you, I don't want to keep waiting for that number. But as soon as we get it, we call a meeting and we get that information from him.
yeah, if I can get it's kind of hard because you want to get that, you know, it's not like us going in front of the town hall, town meeting and saying, hey, we want $200,000. And then they give us $200,000, we know we have $200,000. Right now, we're asking for money that they say, what was the terminology they used?
As of right.
As of right
Right
now.
now. And yeah, everything was first come, first served with that.
Well, we weren't offered any first.
Well, it's not an offer, it was presented to departments and committees.
Yep, and it's the town administrator duty to do whatever.
Yeah, it has to get dispersed in a way that makes most sense. Okay.
So am I hearing this correctly? Right now, they said 240,
Yes.
but that could
It-
conceivably increase or decrease
I would,
based on.
see, what we were told originally
needs.
was.
No, I-
Yeah, I don't know if you got that whole thing, that they offered a certain amount of money, and they said what it was that they dispersed it to all these
Correct.
groups, and they're not all gonna use it, so
Right,
now
so
I
it's like
think
it's
that-
here, but now
yeah,
people
now
are
I think
picking
that
at
people
it.
have used
Yeah,
it,
yeah, yeah.
and
Or
now
they're
that,
picking at it a
and I
little
think
bit.
I think that they maybe earmarked that, and again, I may be talking wrong here, but I thought that, my guess would be that they had that earmarked for $290,000 for the playground, and then that issue happened with the other one, and they couldn't get parts for it, and so they just decided to do the whole thing, and then that went. So, my other question is, and I don't know what they're doing, I think that we discussed it, or maybe I'm dreaming this, that the surface has to be.
Surface has to
To
be
be
that.
like rubber or something like
Yes.
that, it can't be
It
chipboard anymore.
cannot be chips
Yeah.
anymore.
So I think
That was the
that
question that we asked.
I think that the library right now is chips, correct?
It
Yeah,
was.
But it's not a new playground.
It's
It might be
existing.
grandfathered in.
Might be,
It's in
okay.
That I
existing.
thought, that's the first thing I thought of.
But the reason I asked that is they've spray painted around an area. So it's been demarked, an area around. So I was wondering if all of a sudden the town is going to put a surface on it? I don't know. So I don't know,
Yeah,
You know,
on
do
that
we-
property, I don't know, but Chris Huntress specifically called out that this is 80.
ADA
And
compliant,
it
yeah.
has to be this, wood chips are no longer.
Yeah,
in
so,
play.
is it something that, if again, they may not be doing it, if it's been grandfathered in, they throw it out, everything's fine, but if they have to, because they're putting new structure out there, put a new surface down, who's putting that down? Is it the DPW? And if the DPW is doing that, does that give us an avenue to say, okay, well, you did this project, can you, if we come up with the, you know, again, this is just, I know nothing, because I was looking for some kind of response. But is that something that they,
Well, along that line, but here's the more substantial question, in my opinion. They're already putting, for lack of better terms, putting in a new playground. What are the numbers? I mean, why aren't we allowed to see those numbers? If it's costing them X number of dollars, why can't we look at that number and say, oh, you got that for this?
Yep.
Here's what you're getting? Because we're starting from scratch and they're starting ahead of us.
Yep.
And we're not getting the benefit of our teammates saying, here's what we're doing.
yeah,
So who is the entity that's putting that in? Is it the library itself?
no.
Well, that's,
Yeah, we don't know, but I think I think from, again, I don't know. I was kind of hoping some response from someone. I will send another email and maybe ask to have a conversation with the town administrator, just to get an idea of, you know, what is going on. Because I think it's futile for us to say, okay, we're gonna do this, and just that wording that said, at this point.
Yeah.
Again, the question goes back to what's going to go in there? Who made that determination? In years past, when equipment failed at that playground, the DPW was responsible for replacing it. Came out of their budget. And one of the administrators years and years and decades ago, when, again, I used the one example when the slide was burned. He didn't want to replace because he wanted to show the kids, tell the kids, teach the kids a lesson.
Teach a lesson.
That if you don't take care of this stuff, you're not going to have it to play on. And the question was, how many 6-year-olds have lighter fluid and matches that intentionally do that?
They weren't the ones writing the stuff on the inside of the slide either. 'cause-
There's a lot of vocabulary.
Yeah, it was-
So, yeah, this lack of coordination within this very small desire, playgrounds, is not helping, we're not being efficient.
So that, I think we got the cart ahead of the horse.
Yep.
Why wouldn't, as a committee, we just go forward and say, all right, we need to slide an article into town meeting, and we need $200,000 to build a playground? And if it gets voted down,
Yeah. Oh, no, I would be totally for that, but I think it's
Yeah.
too late to get that in, right?
That's why, I don't know the timeline off the top of my head. I think it is. I think
It's
budgets have been
awful
in.
close.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was a whole
Well,
process.
so it's one thing about budgets, we're not talking about a budget, we're talking about an article
Yeah.
that would be funded, whatever the three ways of funding are. You know, it's either by bond or by, you know, a transfer from capital, you know. But for someone to have the chutzpah to say, all right, you guys want a playground, go raise the money for it. The more I'm sitting here, it's just like, well, you know, they did it the easy way. They took the money out of our pocket.
Well,
So why do we, you know, not that I'm not willing
I guess there's
to
ways.
do the work.
I just,
But let's let the town, so they're making a decision. Those 5 people made a decision that the townspeople don't want to pay for tot lot. And I beg to differ.
I don't know if they're saying that.
no, they're not saying that. They're not saying that. What they're saying is basically,
Well, they'd have to put it in the warrant, because that's the way the budget works.
yeah, build it if
But
you
going
can.
back to what you said, that is the idea of saying you, as a committee, who has no authority to make these decisions, go out and raise the funds, is not part of our charge. Our charge is to administer the funds. Our charge is to take care of things, not to go out and raise your own funds. We do have funds available to us from the money that we use, that we charge people to use the fields. I don't know how much is in the budget. But the more important thing is, that statement is what they said 20-something years ago with Kent Way. And their plans, Mary, I forgot them, I'll give them to you. But here are the plans. We had 3 basketball courts, baseball fields, a kiosk, parking for 45 cars, ready to go out there. And the select men at that time, the 3 of them said, go raise the money and you can do it. At that time, it was a couple $100,000. So I don't like the idea of, if you want something, COA, DPW, go raise your own money if you want something.
Bake
This is
sale.
the town's responsibility to raise the capital needed to meet the needs of its citizens. Our job as a committee, as it is in our charge, is to provide the recreational opportunities for citizens and their guests of this town. And there are funds available through ARPA that we didn't take advantage of as fast as other departments because we are not a department. We don't have people working around the clock or 40 hours a week. We have the largest budget, I believe, of any committee. And in many other departments, and many other committees that I know throughout Eastern Mass, they actually pay somebody to take the minutes, to do the logistics work, planning board meetings. So members aren't taking notes while they're part of the conversation. So for asking us to go out and raise money is, I'm going to use the word, and no offense to the members themselves, I'm sure they didn't mean it this way, but I'm taking it this way. It's disingenuous. Because if I raise money, if this committee raises money, we should be able to do with what we want and have to ask them permission. It's either or.
Yeah. Again,
I'm sorry, I
No,
soapbox.
no,
Makes sense.
I mean, as I was saying before, we went through the basketball court, and they didn't want us to go in front of town meeting to do it. They said, no, you shouldn't do it, you shouldn't do it. And we went to the finance committee, and the finance was kind of so-so, but we pushed it, and we were able to present it, and we got the money. And then we needed more, we went back, and we got more money. I wish I knew more.
From
like,
where did the money come from?
From the town budget, like, you know, the free cash, the millions of dollars in free cash that we have, that goes to other departments. You know, police department needs a new car, DPW needs a new backhoe. We were just a small little blip on everyone else's wants. And it's always good to have that, like you say, we were like way up on the agenda of the town meeting, people were exhausted, like, yeah. I should say that we did have to fight a little bit.
Call a town meeting while everybody's in Florida.
Yeah.
So what do we do?
I think I'll have that conversation with Tracy. I'll talk to Alicia, who spearheaded us at the very beginning. I know that she's not involved in it now.
Has anybody else in your memory in recent 20 years done something like that, gone out and raised that kind of money, like to buy defibrillators or something, or, you know, some...
Well, back in the day, Governor Dover would donate a police car because...
Payment in lieu of taxes.
Pilot, yeah.
And they actually give a lease for 99 years on their property to put the new town hall there. They're quite generous. And we won't go into those details. I've never heard of anybody raising that kind of funds.
Yeah.
Usually people will have a small request and a local group would support it. Or
Was in the
create
COA in those meetings, someone sent $25 and they approved the $25. I don't know.
So we can't put anything out to bid at all?
Until we,
Yeah, the money in the bank.
my understanding, because these ARPA funds operate a little bit differently, if we're to use those funds, my understanding is we have to have a plan of saying, this is going to cost $120,000. This is what we want. And we put technically there's an application for the ARPA funds.
Which we felt.
So
Right.
wasn't Huntress going to create, if I'm not mistaken, and stop me if I'm wrong, wasn't he going to kind of put price tags on each
He did.
part? I didn't see that, so,
It's
and maybe,
It was in that
Actually,
thing on that.
it might have
yeah,
been
it's
on
in
a
the
sheet,
packet.
but I
It's
just
in the
didn't
packet.
see.
But
It's
the
not
price-
line by line, it's
No,
just
but the pricing was like
walking
an
trailers.
approximate.
Yeah.
Is it in this?
Yes,
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
yes.
But it's not what you're talking
It's a
about.
whole
No,
number, it's
my
not-
understanding,
yeah.
he was going to say, like, I have like, I don't know which version
Yeah.
of this is, but there's like the log balance.
Yeah, that's not in there. He
Say
just
that the
did-
log balance beam is $2,000, just for easy
there's actually a
numbers.
sale on double Dutch
Here we go.
slide. I just looked at playgrounds.com.
Yeah, so like this little,
32,000
yeah, so
for a
this
double
is,
slide.
so this is the slide alone, or like the whole
It was kind of the
treehouse,
structure around the
playhouse
slide.
structure?
I guess the other thing we could do is go out some night with some Sawzalls and find a community that the police department is busy and just remove theirs and bring it over here.
Half of us can divert.
Yeah, yeah.
Diversion.
Is that okay? Is that, no, I guess it's.
But I think I do think though that we should, well, I don't know that we have a choice but to wait for Chris to come back with like, oh, this is what we could do.
Well, that's, I sent out that note, I said, so what can we do for around $300,000? And I know that that is a stretch, because again, we have to come up with $60,000, but I think, again, you're right. You know,
Yeah.
do we make a amendment at town meeting to ask for $60,000 to add to our 240 to put a $300,000 playground in?
I'm not sure you can do that.
Oh, yes, you can, I watch, they do
No,
everything.
no, it's like the capital planning committees.
Oh, yeah.
Their speech,
Yeah.
you can add a new line
Yeah,
item.
yeah, I know that people have done that before, they've come out
Two
with.
different, I think there's two different things. When capital campaign, we're doing capital expenditures, which just is not, we are not under their purview at this time.
All right, so
That's-
I'm coming at this another way now. Why don't we just let them have the 240? You know, you want, take it, you know. This is very convenient for them that they've got $200,000 that, and the tot lot's not gonna make DPW mad because they want another sander and school department wants overhead projectors. It's just, we can't spend that money.
Well, no,
It's
we
not
can
enough.
spend it, but we can't get the full tot lot.
Yeah,
We
it's
can,
not-
we can bet, we
But
put in.
that's the reality, as I see it, is to have a bake sale for $60,000 is gonna be a pretty big bake
And
sale.
it's cheaper for people just to give the money instead of pay.
Well, no, and that's, again, so I'm coming full circle, it's like, let's just go to town meeting and ask them for another 60 grand, or ask them for 300,000 to build a tot lot, and I think you'd win.
Oh, I think we would too.
And so that we're accomplishing what our purpose on this planet is, at least with town government, is you want us to build a tot lot, we'll build a tot lot, here's a tot lot, a great tot lot, we can have it for 300,000, all those in favor, press the yes button.
I think that a lot of times what they do is, I think the town administration, what they do is they say, we have this much money, and we have earmarked for school, for roads, for this, for that. And for some reason, the rec department's over here, and we're not in that.
No, because we're never there. But you know what, every year they buy a cruiser, and that's, it usually comes through capital planning, as far as I know.
Mhm.
And it's just, yeah, sure, and every 5 years they buy a fire truck, and da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
We just have to get in line. But it's like, to sit there and say, well, we gotta spend $240,000, we're gonna lose it. Oh, let's kind of throw it to a committee to build a tot lot, and it's not enough to build a tot lot, you know, what do we?
Or we build a much smaller one, or we build something else there.
I engaged with someone, I don't know if you were actually in the hallway, and I said to this person, $240,000 might just buy us the canvas. That might just give us the little path up to the corner and the 30-foot strip, you know, by 15 feet,
Yeah.
and there's nothing on it. And that's the reality. The reality is the constricts we're under, and I support 100,000%. It's ADA compliant, yes. Nice wide sidewalks, yes. Safe surface, yes. It's gotta have chain link, yes. There's all these little pieces that if we can't do it for 240, you know, like I say, well, maybe we just build the yellow brick road and it's the bridge to nowhere. And it's just because, oh, well, they're gonna take the money back. It's, I'm getting angrier and angrier.
No,
Well, I mean, to go back, I think it's great they're finally repairing and perhaps hopefully updating the library,
they are.
okay? If it comes out, if those funds were originally earmarked for another project and they felt it was important to do that, I'm for it.
Yep.
So I think that's an ideal place for it. Well, I would like to see some type of structure there and some amenities added to the field area. If we, in my opinion, if we don't get 17 swings, 4 slides, and all this accoutrement for a playground, I'm okay with it. It gives something to, as a start, to make sure it gets fully utilized and not underutilized. I know people like the expression, build it and they will come, but most businesses don't operate that way. They've done their research and they've looked at, you know, a location analysis and done geographic spatial science to say this is the ideal spot for it. I'd rather get something smaller and up and running, and if we see the need down the road to expand it, we can do that, because we'll have that space allocated, rather than trying to do something that still will never be enough, even at $250,000, $300,000. It may not have everything that we want now.
Yeah, so we go to whoever, Chris
Somebody.
Huntress or whoever, and we say, all right, we have $200,000.
Yeah.
Because let's say we do, or let's say we don't, let's say we have
You hear
200.
that all the time.
Yeah, and, you know, we have a nice chain link fence with a base and 3 swings, you know?
That's more swings than they have in the library right now.
Yeah, no.
But, well, you know, that's
Pile
the
of-
reality
You only
of,
two there the first time, yeah.
that's the reality of construction costs and costs today.
Yeah, no.
Everything is substantially higher and getting higher. So we thought it was nice a couple of years ago.
So let's just say we do that, and it, just for our conversation, it's 6 swings or 3 swings or whatever the number of swings
Yeah,
is. So then what's the next step after that?
We should be any department should have, and correct me if I'm wrong, a 5-year plan.
Yeah, but.
Right.
Yeah,
but
and that's what we're working on with the
And that's what
master
we're
plan.
working on
With
with
the
the
master-
master
so
plan.
in-
So
in-
now
in
we've
3
got the 6 swings for 250 or 240 or whatever the
Whatever
number
it
is.
is.
Whatever we get,
So then what's the next step after
The
that?
next step
Add on.
is it being used? Yes, we are out there 50 days, we can
No, so
document.
we get it, and he says that you can build this for 200.
Okay, and what I'm saying is a location analysis, what you do is it being
But we've
used?
already done that, haven't we?
No, we haven't. How many people use the basketball court on a regular basis?
Okay, so I'm very confused.
When-
So
when-
are we not talking about putting a top lot
Okay.
at?
Yeah, we are.
If we
But-
want-
I'm very confused, I'm so
But
sorry.
here's the way I'm looking at it. We want to, imagine if we had $1 million and we wanted to put a
But-
tot lot there.
Okay,
Is it worth putting $1 million tot lot there? We don't know how many people are going to use it. Our current population, current school population, take all these data points.
okay,
We
so,
create something smaller. Are we using it?
so I guess my question is, then why did we even design it? Why did we have him design
Well,
it
it-
here if
because I-
we're asking that question at
Well, no,
this point?
I
I'm sorry,
think
I'm
that
just-
my.
I'm not
my-
understanding this
Yeah,
at all.
my feeling is that
And maybe it's just.
we've all
we're
been
talking
through it, we've
circular.
all had kids, well, you haven't, have you? No. Just wanna make sure.
It's a lot of work.
We all have kids and a lot of work, that covers it.
SATs are easy.
But, you know, you all either dealing with kids and bringing them to playgrounds, and everyone's taking the ride up to West Newbury because they have a nice place. And we're all using West Newbury's property and wherever we can. Central Street would be a perfect location for it, one, because
Which is
we.
what I thought we.
Yeah, because
I
of
thought
all
that's
the
what
people
this
that go
was.
there every
So,
weekend.
wait, I'm so
Yes,
sorry, I'm
so-
just,
but so
we're just
if we build
spiraling and I'm
something
just trying
small-
to get to the next,
Do we want to put an Action Cove down there?
I'm sorry?
Do we want to put an Action Cove at Central Street?
Action Cove's a place in West
Yeah.
Newbury,
West
that's,
Newbury.
I love
yeah.
Action Cove,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
Action
But
Cove's
we
great.
can't afford it, so we
Yeah,
can't
see,
afford
see,
it.
Action Cove's
Right, we have a
So
200K budget.
Let me finish, please. We can't put that in there, we don't have the budget. We could put in the 2 towers they have with the connecting bridge. That's it. Now, we come back and say, that's being used every day. We have 17, when I go by there intermittently at this time on Saturdays, I can tell you how many people are using it. Then we can go back to town meeting and ask for more money to expand it, because we have the information to be able to,
But that wasn't my question. My question was, we get 200K.
yeah.
And now, what's our next step? Do we put that out to bid?
So our next step is
You've-
next.
I appreciate it, but that's not my
Yeah,
question.
the next step.
My question was.
Well, that's a different question.
We have $1 million. I'm like, no.
Okay. If-
Like, I'm.
Like, we have it, we're good, what do we do next?
Yeah, so I
Yes,
think the
that's
next step,
simple.
the next
Like,
step is, I'm gonna
You
talk
guys are
to.
hearing yourselves and you didn't hear my question,
Yeah,
which
no,
was, okay,
am I
we have
answering?
200K, what's our next
Yeah, so
step?
I don't, this is gonna be the answer to your question. I think the next plan would be to say, hey, Chris Huntress,
Thank you.
we only have this amount, we wanna
Yes.
put in this location, we wanna do this, what can we have for this amount of money in this? And then if he says, yes, you can do.
Six
you know,
swings, just for conversation.
Just,
Just for
then,
conversation.
then we go for the process, and what happens is
And we
after
send the
that,
six
then.
swings out for bid.
Yeah, and so what he does is he sets up a whole thing, talks to his people, they put out a thing, and so the bids will come in anywhere from $200,000 to $300,000, and if we can afford something in, you know, in that range, if we have 240, then we vote on it, we agree,
And
then
we get those
it
six
happens.
swings
Yeah,
out
and
of
then,
this. Thank you.
and
That was that's my question.
That's the question I
Not
didn't
any
hear.
of those other things, so I appreciate the $1 million
and then,
and the
and there's-
analysis and whatnot,
yeah.
but it's like,
but
didn't we just do
Yeah, we
this?
did.
And
And
didn't we
we're gonna-
say
we're
like
gonna-
6 swings or something? So,
yeah, it
thank
just,
you.
And within that, if there's 2,000.
So back to my original question, sorry, stay with me, hear my question before you.
yep,
So my understanding from Chris was that he was going to amortize or put a cost,
Itemize.
itemize
yep,
each item that was part
Yep.
of
and we haven't
this
got that yet.
plan. So that was my question, where is
Yeah,
that?
we don't
Yep.
know.
Yeah.
So that's a missing piece.
Yep.
That's
So
the
we
big
would be
missing
able
piece.
to
Big missing.
figure out that we could have the,
Right.
We could have.
only the log, but nothing else for
Right.
Well, we
200K.
could, we could have the menu of 2 from column A, 1 from column B, and this one, and that works.
Yeah.
And we could decide, then go to the town administrator, fill out the form saying this is what we want, and then the bid process can
So I
start.
think unfortunately, not a lot can be done like now until we hear back from Chris,
And
because
town
he needs to
administrator.
then be like, yeah, cool, this is what you can do for 200, 300, and then here's the menu.
Yep.
Because
So-
then we're just talking, then we're just speculating.
It just,
what we're
for
doing.
me, again, I'm gonna go way off topic here, but when we first had this conversation, and I don't know if you guys were part of it, but it was like, hey, Dave, you know, I did this one in Methuen or somewhere, and it was like $300,000, that's what the price was. And I think it might have had something to do, there was also site preparation, which I don't know how much that added to, but it was like this beautiful thing with all sorts of
Yeah.
wild things, and I'm thinking to myself, that works out, we can you know, because they promised us 290, we can make this happen. And now I'm at the point where we're down to 240, and now the number's gone between 4 and 6, and so I'm like,
Gotcha.
So, I mean, I looked at
Understood.
those prices, there's, like, when we looked at the, again, I'm going off topic here again, but we looked at the canoe launch, and if you look at the design for the canoe launch and the price on it, you're like, we can't do that,
Right,
you know?
kind of agreed.
But that's what I was kind of hoping, that, you know, we did again, we did the basketball court, with the initial drawings of it, it was spectacular, what he had written in with, you know, cages and all sorts of stuff, but we couldn't afford it, so we cut back, and so
Right, right.
I'm hoping that that's the case, that we'll be able to get some kind of knowledge from him, but it would also, I think it would be nice to be able to talk to the town manager, town administrator, to say, hey, you know, okay, we go through this process, and we've talked to Chris, and Chris says, yeah, this is what you get for $200,000. And all of a sudden, they just pull the rug out underneath us again, and that's what my concern is.
Well, if that happens, couldn't we do what John said and just see if we can put it to,
But if, let's say we go on the process and we go past the April date of town meeting, we have to wait a year.
yeah, which we wouldn't get the ARPA funds anyways, because we wouldn't have had them, so
We
maybe
wouldn't
it
have
is
all of
something
them.
that we will.
And then it goes to.
But regardless, we still need to know which one is the itemization.
I don't think there's a
Of
way
each
of getting
element.
a special town meeting called to get a certain number of signatures.
It's always an option.
That would be fun, huh?
Well,
Talk about going around begging people.
But, you know, that would really cause a stir.
But going back
the
to.
one-way street next to the fire station,
Yeah.
that was a citizen's
Yeah.
petition for a town meeting.
Yep.
And it was probably 1,000 signatures, but if you stand in front of the school, you're gonna get 500, right? I mean,
Go to
conceivably.
the dump on a Saturday, you get the other 500.
Transfer station.
Transfer
Transfer
station.
station.
The challenge, in my understanding, I could be wrong, however, if we were to ask for a certain amount of money, it would then be required to go to capital planning. Capital planning will make their recommendation as well as the finance committee. And if they feel that at that time, that those funds would not, based on the amount of money the town would be bringing in and other anticipated and unanticipated expenses, that it may not be approved, not only approved, it may not be supported by them.
Yep.
well, it could still be
A line item.
it could be on the warrant.
Yep.
It will say clearly, not supported by or not.
Yeah, they would get up and say that we don't support it. We don't
You don't think this is a good use
Investment.
This is
of
my
Yeah.
money,
Yeah.
which is fine.
Good use of money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So then that would deter people from voting.
but I would have you do the presentation at town meeting and you would talk them into it.
You sent a teenager up there to give
Oh, okay, well, you know, she's of age, she's over 18.
So at this point, we're stuck at,
I think that this comment, I need to get it off my chest. If there was support for this, you'd find a way. Like, it could be, oh, we're gonna move money out of the town hall, 6 million, you know, and just shift 60,000 into.
And there was, when we were here,
Yeah.
everyone was all like.
Yeah, but we're unfortunately, we're the unliked stepchild of the town of Newbury. But we just get things going, we get things done, but it's just kind of like, oh, well, the rec committee can handle it. You know, they can set agenda and they can spend all the time pulling their hair out.
I'd say you're the receiver of a hot potato as opposed to the unwanted stepchild.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know this, I just,
we have a good problem. There's money available to us to do something.
yeah.
All right?
Does it have to be the tot lot? Can you choose something else on the plan?
I just personally don't
I
like the
just-
idea of that.
You'd rather go with the tot lot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the
Sensible.
central location of it, it's a nice start, because if it wasn't for the fact that I'm old, and I would love to have a walking path going around the whole field, I think that that is selfish of me, where there are more young people in town, more young people moving in. Tot lots is a good idea.
Well, even that, again, we would have to go through that whole process, but the walking path was 325 to 400 on this.
That is
We'd
correct.
have to do the same thing.
It all depends on,
But at least we know what we're doing in the second time around, right?
we could.
The canoe launch is 285 through 400K.
We could ask DPW what their cost would be to put in, surface that was walkable, like the, what do they call that?
Stone dust.
Yeah, stone dust.
Okay.
And do it around that way, so it's not super fancy and it,
Yeah.
but we could get stuff done. Without, that's, you kinda, unfortunately, you have to scrap. So,
Get from Chris.
I
No.
will push again, Chris, tomorrow morning. I'll send another email tomorrow because I didn't hear from him. I will again contact Tracy and say, we gotta have some kind of clarification on if we're gonna do this, that we don't have the rug pulled from under us again.
Best case scenario is Chris comes in with a $240,000 plan
Yeah.
and say, let's go out to bid.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's be
Light those
hopeful.
candles, John, light
Yeah,
those candles.
yeah.
Well, ideally.
It might be your two swings, but
Well,
it's a
One
start.
push, one pull.
It's a start, right?
But ideally, he would
only
give
two
us,
swings down
Better
there.
than nothing.
yeah, a list,
Outside.
What?
You
Yeah.
start.
like they did with the basketball court again, for some of you who weren't there. He did come out with an original, and then we had to scale it down, but he also broke it out so that we could have part A, B, and C, depending on the cost. So if the total cost for element A is $200,000, there might be other elements that we could add to it that would enhance what we're getting and utilize more of the funds that are available. So and then,
Yeah.
remember how we did that with the fence versus this, and,
Yeah, there's,
components, this kind of backboard versus this kind of backboard.
and
So-
we cut back. I mean, what we really wanted, we couldn't actually get, because it was just asking for too much, and so we said, let's do this, and it worked out, everyone likes it, and you guys use it, so.
How much do we have in our budget?
It's a $50,000 revolving,
Yeah,
We
50.
get allocated $50,000 annually,
Yeah.
plus whatever monies that we collect. So there's another sub-budget that we have access to, but that would have to go through, my understanding, town meeting to access those funds.
yeah, I
So
assume
we
that
have
every,
what we can't do and what we want, is that?
No, I think what happens is that there's a revolving account, but I think whatever money we don't use goes into like an arrears account, and then, because that was the whole question with the basketball court, whether we could tap into some of that money. And the same thing happened with
So
the top,
that, see that money, we
the field
can't-
house.
that's not
Yeah.
a free, we can't,
That's not like, oh, here we go, let's.
No.
just,
but
But they're not
this,
placing
We can utilize it, but we
$50,000.
can't access it.
Yeah. How would you wanna look at that?
yeah.
All right, so plan is, I'll send 2 emails out tomorrow, or I'll make,
Yeah, it's not
actually,
shoes.
maybe I'll make
No,
2
it's
calls
shoes.
and see if I can get
22,
some answers.
shoes.
I don't wanna put it off for another month, but
No.
I don't think we have a choice.
And if we get information within the next 2 weeks, we can call
A special
meeting.
Yeah.
Is there a time, well, we can get that, we can
Yeah.
get those details later, but it doesn't have to be a Monday night at this time, it could be, I know some people have to work, sorry. We could do it someplace at a different time, different place.
Can it be remote?
My understanding is we can have people
Yep.
do it remotely.
Yep,
Just asking.
Yeah,
Okay.
you know, the occasional person who can't make the meeting to make it more, I believe, I'll have to double check.
yeah, there's a whole thing around it too, but we could probably do it. All right, so,
I'm just thinking if this room isn't, it's more the
Availability.
the
for-
availability of this room.
Yeah, we
So
could-
if this room is
yeah, I think
double
that
booked,
it all, it revolves around a camera, and I think if we can use a second camera,
But couldn't we
we
just
could do it
go
at the
on
field
Zoom?
house. We could, what's that?
Could we just go on Zoom and do it remotely?
Keep it under 40 minutes, which means I can't talk.
Let's do all meetings.
That was good.
Oh, okay, go.
Thanks for teaming up.
That was very good. That was perfect. Okay, should we move on and?
Yes.
All right, let's talk ping pong update.
I think it's going well. We got about,
Yeah,
6 to 8
it's
people that
well,
come.
there's some regulars, and some people passing through, but we're not getting,
we're not getting pickleball numbers.
we're certainly not getting pickleball numbers, and they're not all pickleball players. Some of them are ping pong players,
Right.
who will soon be pickleball players, but.
It's being
not-
utilized.
It is, but I'm
the
gonna change
tables-
the times.
The tables are being used, I have not seen anybody in there after 12 o'clock.
Yeah, so I'm gonna change it to 10 to 12,
10 to 12 is, yeah, that's.
because we have it 9 to 1 right now.
10 to 12, then, because I feel guilty every time I leave. It's like, well, just leave it in case someone shows up.
I know. However,
We're
last
still
week.
on the calendar, though.
Alright, I'll talk to her. It could be that there's not room in the box, especially Tuesdays.
Well, there are, yeah.
Tuesdays is
Do
a-
we want to move the day so we have room in the box?
Tuesdays are a busy day for us.
That's good.
And I just want to put my complaint in because I was going to try to get to the head of the COA the other morning, and there was a sign online that said they open at 7, and I went to the door and I couldn't get the door open.
It's
At the
jammed.
field house?
No, down here. Do you guys open at 7?
No.
They had it online that you guys open at 7.
What are you talking, like on the town website?
I don't think it was town website, it was like Council of Aging Newbury, it said 7 AM.
It was probably Newbury, New Hampshire, did you?
Yeah,
Are you
no,
like doing
actually-
central time?
No,
or something?
seriously,
No, I-
sometimes if you look up.
Yeah, maybe,
Newbury
maybe,
Rec, it goes to
maybe,
Newbury, New Hampshire.
maybe, but there was no one home, so I was,
They haven't played.
I
Yeah,
was
no,
looking for
I'm sure they do.
I was looking for the
The
boards,
things, yeah.
boards, but everything worked out. It was a thing. All right, so ping pong update, all set. Town-sponsored pickleball at Central Street, non-town property. I've never heard any more on that.
It was 50 degrees.
Yeah, so we're,
Well, it'd be nice to get an answer.
okay. And then we could plan it,
And just- and
maybe
just
for next year,
So we
right?
could plan for next year.
Okay, all right. I will add that to my question.
I think most everybody that was interested in playing pickleball has found a home.
Did you see, the sidebar, did you see the brewery is opening up their own?
So
They
we had a
have opened it.
subset of the Newbury Council on Aging Pickleball Club met at the said brewery the other night, and we had like 10.
Did you have to reserve?
Yeah,
Yeah.
impact.
Yeah.
What brewery?
Newburyport Brewery on,
Okay, yeah,
It's
yeah,
cute.
yeah.
It's a little tight going one way, but they call it home and away field.
Okay.
And we went the other night, and I'm going back again, so I'm like a regular.
$60, right?
60, yeah. Which is just about right. If you get 10 people to play, it's $6 a piece, you know.
Nice.
All
And
right.
do you have a couple of beers before? Because you can't do that with the COA.
Really?
I mean, you could.
For real?
Is that a new rule?
That's not a new
I didn't
rule,
vote on
John,
that.
right there.
It's 10 o'clock in the morning, come on!
Yeah, I think we had.
Bloody Marys,
There
everybody
was
knows
something
that.
with the, when we do a policy, there was some kind of asterisk, something about alcohol with the COA. So you just have to read deep into those asterisks.
I see.
There was something, we had a great idea the other day too, was we're gonna use.
Well,
the-
was it Chinese
We're
food?
gonna use the bus.
Was it-
We're gonna use the bus for something.
Oh,
Nice bus,
thanks.
nice bus.
Like a party bus?
There was a guy in the
No,
bus
no,
when
no,
I
no, no,
was
it
waiting
was
for
actually,
you and.
it was actually legit. It was like going to like a Merrimack hockey game. On the,
Really?
on the Council on Aging bus, yeah. Or you could go to U Lowell too, but it's probably too late in the season now. But I thought that was a nice idea.
It is.
Moving
Ben's
on.
over there saying, you old people.
I'm on the wrong committee. I'm on the wrong committee.
All these gray hairs want to do things. All right, let's, so that's all set. How
At least
about?
they have hair.
I know.
Stop.
Water bubbler. Who,
Yes.
oh, that was me that looked into that.
The plumber was coming 6 weeks ago.
The plumber was coming, the plumber was coming.
Exactly. They were going to discuss it with the plumber, and that's all I got. So,
No
yes, yes, it's,
Ready to accept
it is in the process. They just had to talk to the plumber. That's what I got, talk to the plumber.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was.
but don't we have to buy that if
No, we've already approved
we've approved it,
we
but I
approved
have
it.
not seen.
We don't have to buy anything. What they do is they would buy it, they would install it, and they would take it out of our budget, I believe.
Or they'll give you an invoice.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yep.
We don't want to get into the position of we're actually making the purchase. 'cause
Yeah,
then
physical
the plumber will
thing,
say,
walk
I
out.
don't use that product,
Yeah.
I only use this
so
product.
here we are in March, June closes, and I have not seen the invoice, it's all
Yeah.
Yeah.
thrown
I
out there.
I will put that on my bother them list.
I'm on that naughty list.
If
Yep.
you have to contact James, it might be time to start asking for that court to get pulled.
The what, I'm sorry.
James,
basketball
DPW,
courts.
the basketball court
That
is about
slides,
6 inches off.
Oh, it's still moving it.
It moved.
Okay, I will do that
And
too.
if they've got a spring list of things to do, that would be nice. The other alternative would just be pull those tiles that are popped up.
Then it just keeps going,
It's
yeah,
gonna keep going.
yeah, and move.
I mean, it's not gonna fix itself, unfortunately, and I'm sure James is looking at it saying, well, the sport court could probably do it, but we never really push sport court for
Okay.
price, because they might come in and say, oh, we'll fix that for $3,500, and then I guess my job is done, right? They'll fix it for $3,500.
I will use those two different scenarios, because if it's $3,500,
Well, that was the, like painting at $2,000, well, $2,000, and we get $1 million worth of street painting equipment, why couldn't we just do a
I mean,
street?
it's a lot easier to double epoxy. if you
No,
have
no,
to.
no, no, but we could have just put street paint on and have it rub off, and so I get,
Well, from what I've talked to other people with this, in the field, it's hydroplaning that's happening. So it's when it gets wet, that thing floats just a micro amount, and it moves. So until we
well,
have
and
a,
the most dramatic was when it was 95 degrees for 3 days in a row, and that, it was, well, not sliding, I don't think there's any danger there, but there's danger of someone tripping over a tile that's
That's
partially
popped
popped
up.
up.
okay.
And the wind screens will ask about another day.
Yeah.
I'm counting on the chain link fence from the tot lot.
and the dumpster's all locked, right?
Dumpster is
Yes,
locked
yes.
and it looks like it's getting full. I'll check again tomorrow.
There was a trash can behind there.
Yes, and that
Full,
went,
but
I
it's
think
gone.
Santa took it with him, or the snowman.
no, it
The
was like,
snowman.
yeah, it was like 2-3 weeks. I haven't seen it recently because it was off to the right.
It moved like every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the most thing I look forward to, like looking into the dumpster to see how many green bags are in there. but it looked
At
like-
least they're in there.
Yes, that's true.
All right, crosswalk. Who did that? Oh, that was me.
That was my idea.
Yeah, but did you do anything about it?
No, cause you said you were gonna.
Yeah, I did. So I talked to DPW, I'm sorry. I talked to DPW
Send
and
them a
they said, that's not for us, talk to the chief of
I was
police.
gonna say police department.
So.
Where would you want this crosswalk?
Just somewhere across from like Fatherland or like the
Oh, I see.
entrance of
Yeah.
the parking
Isn't
lot
there
on
one,
Central Street.
like, just at the tip of the hill as it starts to go down? I've seen people crossing there.
I
There's
don't
It's
know.
not an actual crosswalk.
So,
That's the closest one is Triton, right?
Yeah.
The one at the exit of Triton is.
which is
Yeah,
yeah.
way
Which is
out.
way
And,
out.
and there's sidewalks there. Years ago, two things came up. One was a crosswalk as well as breaking the stone wall and putting an entrance on the stone wall on Central Street. The problem with the stone wall is the chief of police at the time didn't want cars parking there, dropping kids
So
off,
you're
getting
encouraging
off,
people to, yeah.
come over the wall and direct them around. There was conversations years ago about the walkway, and the issue is there's no sidewalk for them to cross onto.
Mhm.
And that's not gonna stop or prevent people. There's a lot of ideal lines of sight on that road. It's not as if we need to funnel people in a congested area to one spot to help people cross in one area. It's not jaywalking. So the idea is if you're funneling people there, that doesn't mean people are gonna, if you're coming up Fatherland and you cross over right, on the right-hand side of Fatherland and walked over, that might be okay, but people are gonna be crossing all over. We're not gonna be able to funnel people because there's no need to, as in an urban area. And there's gonna be a misconception that you are safe to walk there unless they put a light or some other traffic calming measures. That they, at that point in time, this was 15 years ago, they didn't want to put anything there. They wanted people to look both ways, be cautious when they cross, and not take the assumption that I'm in a crosswalk and that I'm gonna be safe. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm just thinking that if people don't park, I mean, people park along Central Street now, and I guess they're not supposed to, but if people parked on Fatherland,
Right.
they could, I mean, it's a
Yeah.
natural
I
progression.
think the argument I'd buy more is if there was the sidewalk, then it would
There
be
is a
very.
there is a sidewalk on the Fatherland side, but not on the field side.
No.
Is it like
Yeah.
a concrete sidewalk?
Yeah, asphalt or whatever.
Asphalt.
Well, then this should be a no-brainer. I mean, it's like they're on a sidewalk.
Right.
All right, I will,
We had, there was
I'll
one,
bother somebody.
they repaved Central
please
Street.
do talk to, what's her name?
Chief of police.
Yeah, she's great.
Great.
She really is.
Ask her, she's got like 60 grand for a playground.
Yeah.
A cop lot.
Crime
Yeah.
prevention.
Bingo! That is perfect.
Community policing lot, here we
My son
go.
would love that.
You know, I
was
was
gonna say
thinking,
that-
I was thinking it would be great just to like get a tank from like, from one of the, used military.
There was a
just put
tank.
one- Yeah, just put one right there, and like the kids would, you would never have to put anything
Like
else
a
in.
pad
I'd go with the airport theme, like an old restaurant.
Plane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always
The
good.
kids love that, this is a digression, but on the rail trail in Newburyport, that half sinking metal boat or
Yeah.
ship,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's like
Well, no, and then
probably not supposed to be a playground, but like kids climb all the way.
The engine on the other
And
side.
Yeah, the fire engine, I mean, the
The train was-
car,
The
train
train engine
engine.
is,
Yeah.
The train
there's
was
always a
great.
kid on that.
Yeah, I climb it all the time too.
Yeah, yeah.
So should we not even do a tot lot and just go get like relics?
Yeah.
Yes.
Big broken cars and stuff like that.
You know, that snowplow they have behind the building, you can just park that.
Where was it I saw, it was like, it looked like boulders, and they were like plastic boulders, and I'm like, this is brilliant, it's got nothing, use your imagination.
I've got
Right, it's like you buy the toy and they want the box
Yeah,
instead.
absolutely.
some old tires.
Right?
Ooh.
John, to go off that and go back to where it was, I sent a picture out to the group a long time ago.
Yeah.
With, it wasn't a very big structure, the design of it up in Potsdam, New York. The people who designed it wanted to sort of have it fit into the scape. They didn't want to have a playground, but they want to have climbing structures. There's a slide, there are a small rock wall. And that wasn't that expensive.
Yeah.
And that might be an
Yeah,
avenue to look at.
We just change, yeah. Because I was thinking, well, that's good and all, but why don't we just do like one of these things? But now there's so much money that maybe that's the best thing to do, build something out of dirt, and let the kids play in it. All right, so senior tax credit, I know nothing about.
No, that was for
Pickleball
Potential,
or ping pong.
potential recreation department, it's a side way of going at an employee.
Bringing somebody in to,
We get a
So-
senior
Yeah, yeah,
tax
yeah,
write-off
yeah,
person to
yeah.
open
Oversee
and
the-
close
yeah,
the
yep.
pickleball courts on.
pickleball or
Monday
any
nights.
other thing we want to do. And so it's not, it
And
would
I think
help
it's-
COA, but
Right.
also if we wanted to have a Friday night, family night, open up the field
Yeah.
house to pickleball and cornhole throwing or whatever, we would have somebody who would be able to do that.
Well, but I will tell you, when I'm dealing with a lot of senior property tax people, I wanna work 2 days a week for an hour a day, or 2 hours a day, 1 day a week, or like, it's not like a 7-hour a day
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Well, I think opening and closing a rec facility would be 2 hours a day. Like,
Yeah.
go and-
2? So you want them to come and leave and then come back and leave?
Yeah. Make sure
Well,
everybody's-
The right person has
I
to
guess the
agree
thing
to
is to
that.
find out more about that. Does it fit into, how could we
Well,
utilize it?
I think we know, I think we would apply to you, is that the way,
They would come to me.
we would apply to you for a helper for recreation?
Or,
To do that.
well, the person who's interested would come to me,
Yeah, and then you find a job for them.
right?
We would have to have a job description, post
Right.
hours,
You would need to let me know what you're.
what we're looking for. Seasonal, sometimes some departments have it heavy in different seasons,
Right.
64 hours a year.
No, it's
It's
133,
150.
it's 133 and a third hours a year, it's a $2,000 total property
Oh,
tax
those
credit.
change. Okay, so 100,
Okay.
say it again?
133 and a third hours gets you,
Is the maximum.
is the max, and that's a max of $2,000 off your property tax.
And what's the minimum?
So they prorate it. So, I mean, I have some people who did like 7 hours last year.
Is there, oh,
Okay.
okay, is there any, you said there's no income
No
restrictions?
income requirement, but they do have to, I have to speak to the assessor, make sure there's, if there's a trust on the property, there's certain things that they have
So
to,
this is work for you.
right? Which is fine, but I just talked to the
I'll
assessor.
do the job description for the next meeting.
How much sign up?
I'm not gonna do it for pickleball specifically.
No,
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 just
just
for
in
rec
general.
committee.
Rec committee, a person to open, close the building, provide light supervision.
And the one person I did approach said, you mean you want me to watch someone else's kids for, and I said, no, that's not what I wanted.
Yeah, but the idea is if we have something in place, it could free up other department staff to do things that they're better at.
I'm at the field house every day, so I wouldn't mind having
Well,
some help, yeah.
Yeah,
I
When
didn't
does
think of that.
pickleball move
That's more than
outside?
133.
What's that?
When
June.
does pickleball move outside?
June,
June.
we'll start in June.
and it
June.
could,
June,
June.
June.
I started in May last year and we were rained out
April-
much of the
April, you
time.
got rid
Yeah.
of most of
Listen.
April.
Yeah, May.
I
Isn't it
can't commit
April
to
showers?
everything all the time.
What's that?
Isn't it April showers bring me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mayflower.
it should.
Yeah, but May,
Yeah,
the
it's not
first day of
pickleball.
pickleball was beginning of May, it was pouring rain.
Yeah, but we-
Last year it rained all summer.
Yeah, it was bad summer.
but the idea is we get somebody not just for the day hours, but
Someone
going
for the
into
evening.
summer, it could be, again, this is part of the long-term plan, is make it family friendly. Thursday
So they're
nights.
setting up the
from-
pickleball nets and they're taking them down.
Somebody's down there, 3 hours, it could be 2 different people looking at this,
Right.
3 hours.
How many hours
Thursday
for-
night.
For 2,000?
133 and a third. But you could do that in the summer.
Yeah, awesome.
Basically 3
I
hours a
think
week.
that's plenty. I really, I mean, I'm thinking, go for.
$2,000 off your taxes is
That's,
pretty
yeah.
nice.
Yep.
It's a good chunk of change.
All right.
Considering our
And do you have
taxes are gonna go
separate
up if we
job
build the playground.
Do,
I think I do.
do you want to
There's a lot of
discuss this
studies
anymore
through council.
before Ben hits us? Or
What's that?
do we want to discuss this anymore before Ben
No, I
hits
think if
us?
you want to do a job
Done.
description for next time.
Yeah.
All right. Flagpole. Oh, yeah, that was me again.
Your name's on a lot of these.
Delegate.
This is my last year.
I think you said that last year.
And the year before.
So,
You have
I-
to build the playground before you leave.
Yeah.
It needs to be the.
I'm not leaving.
That's right.
I'm just moving
Ah.
a seat one way or another. I called them and they said, yeah, absolutely, they'll put in a flagpole for us. But they want us to get a fiberglass one and not aluminum.
Who they?
TPW. DPW said no problem about
We
putting a
didn't put it
flag.
up in the first place, though. That was like a scum
Boy
project.
Scout
Yeah.
program.
Yeah, they said that
Eagle
they
Scout
would,
project.
they would put it in, but they would prefer to have a fiberglass that's not going to bend and break.
And how much did that cost?
I looked, just briefly, 20-foot commercial grade white fiberglass is $600. Which is, if you wanna go 24 feet, which I think is pretty high. But I don't know what was originally put there, that is $800 essentially.
Is it lit? Because they usually keep the flag up all the time, don't
It's,
they?
it's lit now. There's actually a light there now.
Yeah,
There
that was
is.
part of the deal.
Okay,
There has to be.
Yeah,
yeah, to keep it up at night.
yeah.
With the new,
There's an extra one at the post office that's sitting in the corner, hasn't had a flag on it. But it's not $5.
I was just thinking, I could steal that.
Now, that might be something you get from Newburyport Savings Bank, you know. when
There you go.
You know, there's.
Well, I think we have the money for that, but,
yeah. Here's the question,
You
the
could
town just
could
passed.
tell them they're
It's
paying
the
for a flagpole, they're really
600,000.
paying for the swing set.
Do we need to, I think we can get away with just one, because the town just passed a new ordinance regarding town flying of the flag.
yeah.
Do we need to have 3 poles, or can one be sufficient? Because it was supposed, does that make any sense?
I didn't look at the flag flying.
Yeah, basically, the town put an ordinance in so that it's the state flag, the town flag, the US flag, and I think
No, like this,
MIA,
like this.
MIA, POW
there's
type
an order for
flags.
that, but I think it would be an ordinance, they're trying to keep the other flags off, like people are doing.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, so,
But are you saying you need 3 different poles?
I-
Or can you
I
put the
don't
flags
know.
on one pole?
well, I mean, here's a question, I can put this as another question and ask the town administrator on the flagpole thing.
Yes.
Or we could vote.
Why don't you ask
Okay.
the question?
you ask, and then next time we can vote out, we'll have the numbers,
And
and
it's our problem because it's our land. Gotcha.
Yeah.
the town land, yeah. I think we can get away with one, but I don't know if they said, you know what, we're moving, the intent is to display all 3, and if it's just the one, do we,
You have to
I
have 2
don't know.
more, so, well,
Yeah, I think that.
And what's
I
the
think-
right thing to
Yeah, I
do?
think that's kind of overkill, I think.
no, I know, but
Yeah.
ask and then we'll know.
okay. Fiscal plan, yeah, for the next, the assumption is we will ask again for the same appropriations, $50,000. Going forward again, looking for transitioning from, say, just a working committee to a department or a more
Yep.
functioning role. Typically, you have an operation budget where you're spending your money. So we can, somebody said, what do you do with the $50,000 that you're allocating? We can say 37 goes to field and maintenance, 1,700 goes to fuel, this, and we can break it down with, you know, it doesn't have to go to the penny, but just to give people an idea of what our expenses are. Does that make sense? Most departments,
We
I
can't do
think
that
all
now?
departments.
Well, we can do that.
We
We can
can't,
do that.
we haven't.
Yeah, well, we have
We
a,
haven't made it
they give us a
down.
detailed list of what what we've
They give us
spent.
a breakdown of what
Yeah, we
we
get a
spent.
breakdown
And
every
we
year.
just, and yes.
Yeah.
So the idea is take that information, turn it around, and say, here's our proposed spending plan based on $50,000.
So let me ask another way, if we raise the rate for reserving the fields,
We get none of it.
okay.
It goes into a different pot.
No, I
Our
understand,
allocation,
I
or is our
understand
allocation.
revolving funds, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I get it.
I know we talked about this last year, I
Like
think.
60,000.
Like a line item for an employee, when does that get added in?
That goes back to like a November time.
So we don't do that till next November?
I would like to do it next July.
Yeah,
And
get it in the
into
process.
the administration.
That's my
Yeah,
question. When do we need to bring that topic up so that we can
Next
get it in?
year, yeah.
So next
Not this
fiscal
year,
year?
not this July.
Not, yeah,
This-
this July.
It is July.
So
FY
after the
25.
close
Yeah.
of
So you
June.
wouldn't get any money until
Okay.
26, 25.
So basically,
Fiscal 25
Fiscal
starts July
25.
1st, 2024.
so we have to, well, I
Unless
guess
there's
we
a
could
special
talk
town
about it
meeting,
in
we
June,
could ask
right?
it, yeah.
So if we talk about it in June,
Would have had to be in your budget, like our budget season was January,
Yeah, yeah,
December,
yeah, yeah,
January.
yeah,
And you would
well,
ask for
that's like we
fiscal
talked about in
25
November,
back
yeah,
then.
yeah.
Yes.
So you're looking at
So if we
Fiscal
talk about it,
26, right?
yeah, so if we talk about it in
We
June,
merge the
June,
recreation
July
under
of this,
council on
of
aging.
'24.
You sure?
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Wouldn't you like?
and it's just a matter of getting the line item, we don't have to break it down to the detail, but here's the line item, if we want to give some examples what the additional funds would be used for, that would be great.
Yeah, we'd have, yeah. Okay.
Huntress.
I got a bunch of things to do. Does anybody want anything else done? Because I think we're done with the ballot. Does COA is happy with the way they're going? Mark's happy?
Lovely.
John's happy.
John?
Angry John.
Courtney?
John's happy.
Ben? Mary?
All right, the only thing we have to do is, in
You
all
guys-
seriousness, Ben, if you could work with your guidance department.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah, I have a
for-
couple. So, am I done June?
No,
No, not till the
No,
playground's
no,
done.
no. Really, seriously?
nobody's ever said I'm done.
Where's the vote next?
We just stopped showing up.
That's
Well,
amazing.
the gap year, you have, your gap year is.
Yeah.
Like, when do you want the new person to commit for?
It would be nice if they came in and observed.
Yeah, that's right. I think I observed the June meeting.
Yeah.
Right.
Because, yes,
Oh, I guess.
It's early enough in June that it's before.
yeah,
Well, but
So,
someone can
so
also
if
go
you
online
have-
and watch.
If you have a
TV.
potential candidate that you wanna bring in next month,
Yeah.
that's
May.
fine.
yeah.
That
April,
might be a little
May,
soon. I can try. But yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
May, June,
I haven't actually talked to him. But
yeah.
You're on the
With
hunt.
one job.
Yeah, we're,
He's
I've
already
tried
got
the
his,
principal
he's
first.
got his college set, life is good, he's just like cruising
And
along.
he's got an unfinished project,
yeah,
Sports done?
2 swings.
nope.
no.
Spring track is already started.
All right, okay, you
Next
guys
week.
wanna just have another meeting next week, cause this was so much fun?
Yeah,
yeah.
send it to
I'm
him.
busy. Already in my sock drawer.
Only if Chris Huntress is,
How about,
Yeah.
how about we meet at 7 AM at the Council on Aging?
I've done those 7 o'clock meetings for the
I
finance
have
committee.
done for the Friends.
I didn't get, I did finance committee, when we
So
were trying
the
to push
Friends
the
used to
document.
do that, 7 AM Zoom meetings.
Yeah, 7 AM.
Ugh.
I'm like, what are these
The
people
design
doing?
committee.
And they're all excited, and
We're
they're all,
design committee now, though.
all right, we'll do a design.
6 swings.
All right,
so you will let us know as soon as you get information from Chris and make a couple of proposed dates. I'll check the calendar.
should we
Meantime,
just,
do you just wanna do the next?
yeah,
meeting?
which did we already
Yeah,
just
we
like,
did, we did.
did we already preset that?
Yeah.
April first,
I think for April, May,
I can't go April 1st.
no, can I?
April 8th, it was
April
April
8th.
8th.
Ah.
At
April 8th.
6:30.
I'm pretty sure we.
April 8th?
Because I was gonna say.
Yeah, April 8th.
April 8th at 6:30,
Oh, April eighth I
what you
can't.
said.
April
Yeah.
first I cannot.
April 8th.
And
Same
then-
thing in May is the first
Then we
Monday.
did Monday, May 6th at 6:30.
Is
Is it-
that appropriate? Like soccer and lacrosse would have already started. Was that a good
Yeah.
time to have the meeting then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you
May I'm
said-
gonna have to see because that's AP test time, so I don't know what days I have what tests and stuff like that. Like I might need to.
Oh, that's right, advanced placement.
So April eighth, what time did we say, 6 or 6:30?
6:30.
Same for May, 6:30.
Why? Why take the test? You're already in.
I have 6 tests. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember doing, I mean, I didn't do that because I wasn't smart. I'm just kind of like dumb as a rock. We actually didn't have advanced.
Oh, I chaperoned.
Yeah, we didn't have advanced placement. All right. They were still working on the wheel back on. So next meeting will be April 8th at 6:30. And I think at this point, at 7:34, I suggest we close the meeting. Any discussion on that? All in favor? Second?
Aye.
Aye. All right, let's do
To
it.
this hilarity.